Okay, so what we normally see, like the chamber we had above is the soft chamber. Normally hyperbaric medicine, I'll give a short history also after this. But with regards to the soft chamber, there is also what we call a hard chamber. I'll show you later. But the soft chamber, the difference with the soft chamber and the hard shell is this gives a little lower pressure than compared to the hard shell. There are certain illnesses which are okay with the soft shell as compared to the hard shell. So how is this? Normally there's a zipper here in the middle. The patient goes inside, and then the chamber is pressurized with pure oxygen, either pure or sometimes mixed oxygen, and the patient breathes through the mask. So normally close to 100% of oxygen is taken in to the body. Inside the chamber, this is how it looks. So if it's pressurized, normally it's deflated. When it's pressurized, it becomes big. So kasha yung adult and the child. Again, this soft chambers became famous with regards to special children with CP or autism. These chambers have been very beneficial for these patients. These are the hard shells. Normally, the hard shells are seen in big hospitals. I think the first ones used were in the diving areas. As I'll mention later, hyperbaric medicine is closely related to diving medicine with regards to pressure and oxygen content. So before the 1960s, 1970s, they used to have these chambers in the diving areas for patients who have what they call decompression illness. I'll also mention that later. Due to the dive, so they enter the chamber and then they get well after. The first hospital that has this is St. Luke's Medical Center, the hard shell, and then Makati Med, and some others. The one we showed a while ago is what they call a monoplace. So there's only one patient that could fit there. This is a multiplace where we had our training in Long Beach. They have these big chambers where a lot of patients could be 4 or 5 at a time inside the chamber, and the whole chamber is pressurized, and then they have their masks. As seen here, there are seats here on the lower part. So for short history, these Greek roots, hyper means excessive, baric means borrow from pressure. As I mentioned a while ago, origins are development. Hyperbaric medicine is closely related to the history of diving. History dates back to 4,500 BC, where the Cretan sponge divers or the oyster pearl divers used to deep dive without any gadgets. They used to get pearls from the ocean, and the medicine started from there. Alexander the Great, 320 BC, explored the Mediterranean. I'll show you a picture later how that came about. And 1620, Cornelius Drebbel created the first diving bell. So this is how it looked before. They used to the big chamber on top for the oxygen air, and then they put the explorer down to the sea to explore. Alexander the Great, what he did before was he explored the ocean in that manner. So in this way, they were able to create some type of medicine and physiology with regards to this. First diving bell by Cornelius. Some other history, 1877, Fontaine, French surgeon, created a mobile chamber. He was the first one who created a mobile chamber. Basic law of physics, Henry's law, we'll mention that later, which states that the solubility of gas in a liquid is proportional to the pressure over the gas, over the solution. Cunningham is the chairman of anesthesia at the State of University Hospital, Lawrence, Kansas. 1921, used hyperbaric medicine to treat certain illnesses. Like they mentioned, when he claimed to treat diabetes mellitus, syphilis, British anemia, arthritis, and cancer. Though the American Medical Association, there weren't sufficient studies for this, so the claim was not really established. Dr. Benke and Dr. Borma were the ones who really popularized hyperbaric medicine in the United States. Dr. Borma is a cardiac surgeon. He was known for the for the classic study, which is life without blood. So what he did was, yung mga pigs, tinanggal niya na lahat ng blood, tapos pinasok niya dun sa chamber, and according to the study, the pigs lived for, I think, around 30 minutes to 1 hour. So later I'll explain the physics and physiology of hyperbaric. So he mentioned that we could live without blood through hyperoxygenation. Other history, probably important here, is 1967, which we are part of, under Sea and Hyperbaric Medical Society. 1967, they established this society, and their main goal was to create protocols through research and studies to be able to really see that there's really effect in certain illnesses. As mentioned before, they used to use it for diving. Then after this time, when they started using it for other illnesses, they proved that this is beneficial to other illnesses. Dr. George Hart, we trained with Dr. George Hart in Long Beach Memorial, 2008. He pioneered hyperbaric medicine in Long Beach and went throughout California. So this is Dr. Hart. Probably you'll remember in the Newsweek magazine 1986, Michael Jackson was the one who probably also put hyperbaric on the spot. Then he did this. He used to sleep in this chamber every night. They mentioned it would keep his vocal cords, his body well. At that time, he was interviewed, and he said he wanted to live till 150 years old. 100 years short. UHMS, as I mentioned, responsible for continuously reviewing research and clinical data and rendering recommendations regarding clinical efficacy and safety of hyperbaric of HPOT. They have developed 13 indications. Again, these are the indications given by UHMS and respected. There are others which we mentioned as off-label. We should also mention that. But again, these are based on studies, so they have scientific basis. Again, mentioned initially decompression illness. Normally when the diver does not ascend from a dive the proper way, what happens is there are certain bubbles which accumulate in the lungs, nitrogen bubbles. So the patient will feel normally dyspneic, hirap huminga, especially pag tumaas sa stairs. Pag pumunta sa doctor, sabihin niya, "Doc, nahirapan huminga. I came from a dive just this weekend." So yun yung mga symptoms that we could say that he could be suffering from decompression illness, or layman's term normally they call it the Benz disease. The other illnesses, arterial gas embolism, carbon monoxide, gas gangrene. Gas gangrene has been further studied. Normally mga severe infections sa extremities. Pag pinasok sa chamber, normally yung bacteria would die due to the high pressure of oxygenation. Normally we have two types of bacteria, yung anaerobic at aerobic bacteria. So those who thrive on oxygen or do not, yun namamatay sila. Especially yung mga Clostridium, yun yung namamatay with hyperoxygenation. So next, mostly closely related to gas gangrene, exceptional blood loss. Others would be traumatic peripheral ischemia. Example of this would be a severe accident. A patient was wheeled into the emergency room, medyo mangled yung extremities niya, naipit sa banggaan. Yung blood supply towards the area, medyo kulang. Kaya normally ang ginagawa ng mga orthopedic surgeon is putol ng agad. So again, they've proven that this has saved functions of these extremities, so nagagamit nila. Eventually, I'll explain how that happens later. Chronic osteomyelitis, yung mga orthopedic surgeons, then normally pag medyo severe infection sa bone, again, putol, they've proven that not all, but for some chronic osteomyelitis, meaning infection in the bone, through hyperoxygenation, they were able to save the limb at nawala yung infection. Thermal burns, radiation necrosis, patients who underwent chemotherapy, radiation therapy after cancer, yung mga tissues or that area na na-radiate, normally hindi nagpa-function well dahil hindi maganda yung healing process, etc. With hyperbaric oxygen therapy, medyo gumaganda. Skin flaps, those patients who undergo mga plastic surgery, they have skin flaps. They normally advise before the surgery, HBOT, and after. So healing process would be better. Other selected problems with wounds and diabetic wounds. I showed again the soft chamber because again, the 13 I mentioned were the initial indications mentioned, mostly hospital-based. The off-label ones, most common, again, as mentioned, for special children, for autism, for CP. How does this work? I'll explain it later. They also use off-label indications for patients who have migraines, patients who have sudden deafness. They have showed this good study in Germany, which noted 100% relief of the deafness of these patients. So for the physics and physiology, how this works, we have different units of measurements for pressure, as seen there. We have per pounds per square, we have feet of seawater, atmospheres absolute, etc. So gas behavior of gases is predominantly governed by three variables. One is pressure, one is temperature, and one is volume. So normally the four basic laws of physics we'll be mentioning. Boyle's law is number one. Boyle's law mentions volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So here you can see a diver, example a diver. So example, what the law means is we breathe in the oxygen to the lungs. The hemoglobin carries this oxygen throughout the body. So doon siya nakakuha. But where the transaction happens is deep down to the alveoli of the lungs and to the blood, to the capillaries. So with pressure, as seen here, as the diver goes lower, the volume on the right side normally decreases. So nagiging compressed siya. For example, nasa isang container, tapos may gas sa loob. Pag pressurize mo yun, the gas will still maintain the same, but the gas molecules parang nagiging compressed. So they compress each other. So then, once this gas is compressed and then delivered to the system, so parang mas potent ang hemoglobin nun. Kasi madami siya naka-attach na oxygen. So yun yung pinaka-ano ng Boyle's law. So to increase pressure, we can increase pressure by adding more gas to a non-compressible or expanding container, chamber or scuba tank. Volume of hyperbaric chamber stays the same, but the volume of other compressible enclosed air spaces within the chamber are affected. What does the second pointer mean is when we lie down inside the chamber, solid organs, the liver, the spleen will not be affected kasi solid sila, the bones, etc. But with regards to blood vessels and other parts of the body, which would include the plasma and the liquid part, yun ang pwedeng baguhin ng pressure. So yun na hyperoxygenate. Other laws, Gay-Lussac's law, pero hindi masyado. We go to Dalton's law. Dalton's law's total pressure exerted by a mixture of gases is equal to the sum of the partial pressure of each. So parang medyo magulo yun. In simpler terms, we have three different gases. We have nitrogen, we have oxygen, and the other gases. So majority is nitrogen, 21% is oxygen. So with hyperoxygenation, so pag tinaas mo yung pressure, tumataas din yung amount ng oxygen dun sa molecule na yun. So yun yung parang pinaka-basis ng Dalton's law. Henry's law, as a constant temperature, the amount of a given gas is dissolved in a given volume, liquid, proportional to the partial pressure. So parang ganun din yung isa. Let's skip the other laws. Diffusion, probably this is easy. This is meaning from a greater concentration, pupunta siya sa lesser concentration area. So kapag nasa loob ng blood vessel, example lang, I'll give a specific example, stroke patients. Stroke patients, what happens to them is yung blood supply towards a certain part of the brain. Even with CP patients, cerebral palsy patients, yung blood supply to that part of the brain medyo na either na-clog siya, pumutok siya, or no. So that certain part of the brain, nakulangan siya ng blood supply. What happens to those cells? Normally those cells either die or become dormant, or tinatawag nila parang natutulog sila. Since kulang sa oxygen, kulang sa energy, nagiging dormant, hindi sila masyado active. With hyperoxygenation, yung blood vessel, yung dumadaan yung blood, through hyperbaric oxygen, dun sa blood, nagsisip out siya sa plasma and CSF. Inside, sa brain natin, parang siyang, pag nakita mo yung brain, it swims around what we call the cerebrospinal fluid, yung CSF. So, yung blood, yung oxygen component dun sa blood, through diffusion, through pressure, napupush out siya, so it swims around the plasma. So, maski patay yung blood vessel towards that area na na-stroke patient, kapag na-hyperoxygenate mo, since the oxygen swims around the plasma, aabot din siya dun sa area na hindi naabutan ng blood supply. So, in a way, yung mga cells na medyo dormant o medyo tamad, hindi gising sila. So, what we see in these patients, though the studies depends on the severity of the injury sa brain, kanya hindi nila magalaw yung buong right side. Depende sa injury sa brain. Normally, it takes a little longer bago nila unti-unti nagagalaw ulit. But of course, this therapy is not solely HBOT lang. Always in conjunction with physical therapy, with medications, and keeping good nutrition in the body. So, ano siya, as a whole siya. So for the mechanics of HBOT, we have what we call hyperoxygenation, which is physically forced into dissolve the plasma and tissues. Each drop of plasma has 10 times the amount of oxygen when put in a hyperbaric state. So you can imagine 10 times more. So definitely, if you go down to the biochemical level, oxygen would go through a process where it delivers ATP, which is energy. So 10 times, so definitely more energy to the organs, and they function better after. Their studies also show that there's 3 times more diffusion in oxygen with hyperbaric, and there's 25% more blood oxygen carrying capacity in the hemoglobin at that pressure. Of course, if there are indications, may mga bawal din. So again, dito na sa clinic natin, we always watch that the patients are seen before they do the sessions, para yung safety din ng patient is what yung consideration natin. Number 1 consideration is history of pneumothorax. Kapag may history siya na pneumothorax, na chest tube, or nahirapan siya huminga, yun normally we further check that patient bago siya masapak sa treatment. Other instances na bawal ang patient, actually yung pinaka number 1, pneumothorax, yun lang talaga yung pinaka bawal. The others are what we call relative contraindications. So, parang medyo nag-iingat lang tayo with these patients. Patients who had recent ear injury, ear surgery, other patients who had open heart surgery, we normally delay this for around 1 month. And after 1 month, normally safe na yun based on studies. Patients who are severely acidotic, patients with hyperthyroidism, COPD, emphysema, so those patients na talaga hirap sila huminga. Patients who have seizure disorder. With regards to seizure disorder, there are also parameters done with regards to taking their seizure medications before the treatment. Normally seizures, absent seizures within 1 month. So may mga parameters na tinitingnan. Certain chemotherapy medicines, specifically adriamycin, doxorubicin, and cisplatin-based medicines, medyo ang sinasabi nila, ina-enhance nila yung effect nila. So we want to limit exposure of these patients who are still taking chemotherapy. Again, we've had some patients here that come thinking na cure ang hyperbaric medicine sa cancer. So that's not true. There are no studies really stating that this will cure cancer. But again, as mentioned with the indications, yung mga post-op problems ng cancer therapy, radiation, chemotherapy, yun yung nakakapagpaganda with HBOT. Pregnancy and optic neuritis are other contraindications. So, with regards to specific studies, we could give you that. With regards to example, one off-label also, probably mas okay dito sa physical therapies, yung sports-related injuries. So how does hyperbaric oxygen become very good for patients who are trying to recover from sports injuries? One is the vasoconstriction effect. Ang effect kasi ng oxygen in a hyperoxygen state is it causes vasoconstriction sa vessels. So towards that, bagong sprain yung patient, automatically ang mangyayari is mamamaga siya due to the injury to the area. So what happens with HBOTs, it causes vasoconstriction, yung blood supply towards that area, medyo mabawasan yung edema, yung maga. Another is angiogenesis, or yung pagbuo niya ng mga bagong vessels dun sa area, which would enhance again healing. There's also studies that show that this also enhances fibroblast activity and epithelialization, so yung healing process was maganda. Certain examples for this, other off-label sports injuries, autism, plastic surgery. One of our known fighters, Nonito Donaire, visited us. This was 2008 when he fought here in Manila. He was suffering from an injury here in his hand after sparring. This was I think 2 weeks before his fight here in Metro Manila. I think he fought Raul Martinez then for his title fight. He did actually almost eight dives straight before even the night before the fight. He entered the chamber, and his endurance was better. He felt lighter. He felt more energized. And his hand, as mentioned, his fighting hand he had less pain. Hindi nawala, pero less pain, so he was able to fight him. Eventually, he won that fight. We have Kelly Williams with our special nurse. Kelly Williams actually entered just for enhancement. He was offered by Dan Rose. I think Dan Rose is their instructor for nutrition, for endurance, and for all the other trainings. He advised HBOT because most of the athletes abroad, NHL, football players, boxers, Vander Holyfield has his own chamber at home. It really has a good effect with regards to performance in sports and healing sports injuries. Because normally, of course, professional players, once they go through the routine of their exercise day in, day out, wala silang time to recover yung mga injuries nila. So, with regards to HBOT, once they sleep, and if they sleep inside 1 hour, 30 minutes inside, the hyperoxygenate state creates better functions for all the organs. So if they function better, yung wound healing and all the other injuries mas napapabilis. So again, for the specifics on the studies that you would need, we could provide you for different illnesses, different problems. If you have any other questions, medyo short na, I do not prolong it kasi medyo detail. Just on how hyperbaric oxygen works, its safety, yung mga bawal, and how to really help in different certain illnesses. I think we also have some other patients inquiring with regards to special children, autism, CP, ADHD. Again, these studies by Dr. Dubauer and Dr. Rosengol have been very good. Medyo matagal yung sessions. Sometimes in other patients paulit-ulit, but the parents are very happy. Again, it's not stated that this is a cure. It's not a cure for autism or CP or any other illness, but definitely for the parents to see change in their son or daughter with regards to small things like eye contact, nakakasabi ng mama, papa, after how many years na hindi. That's a big thing for the parents. So I think ito yung hope na nakukuha nila, and which they pursue and continue doing the therapy. Again, it's one of the parts lang of therapy which is mentioned. Others would say that causes of these are sometimes connected to the GIT. There's certain foods that they don't take. Sometimes they say vaccines, some vaccines, but again, it hasn't been proven. So again, this has helped a lot of patients in different illnesses. Yes.
How do you prepare a special child? Let's say a child with autism, 3 years old. It's an enclosed space, right? So how do you prepare him for that? So there will be series of visits that the child should be exposed to the chamber.
Yes. Normally we advise the parents that the patient has to be accustomed to the area, surroundings, especially with special children.
That?
Yes.
Okay.
Normally, what's with regards to special children, they want constancy, meaning they want to see things which are always there. So we allow them to stay in the area before we really do the actual procedure. I think that helps them a lot. With regards to this soft chamber, medyo konti lang yung mga restrictions as compared to the hard shell that I showed. The hard shell, medyo may mga bawal na electronics, bawal yung mga ibang parts kasi they said that this could cause a spark and pure oxygen siya, so pwede siya magka-fire. With regards to the soft chamber, again, this is not pure oxygen. Okay, you have a concentrator which gives you mixed air. Yun yung nagko-compress sa chamber. But the pure oxygen is just the mask which you have. Pure oxygen yun. So, safety with regards to bringing inside electronics, sometimes yung mga laptops. So, nadi-distract yung child with regards to these things. Books, any toys that they want to bring in, okay lang. So, as long as we can see, as long as comfortable yung bata and the parent, and syempre dapat yung parent kasama din sa loob. So, yun naman ang pinaka